Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And I am so stoked to be jumping into Quicksilver, which sounds silly because obviously I was excited about doing it, but I got way more excited about it once we actually started putting the outline together for it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, I can't wait to do this again.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't excited before, but I'm more excited now.
Well, it's a whole new journey. It's a whole new adventure from you guys know if you've been here for any amount of time, we just did really deep dived Onyx Storm. And so we've had our tinfoil caps on and now we get to start fresh with Quicksilver. We get to find new Easter eggs. It's a whole new author, totally different world. I'm so excited. It's going to be a blast.
Well, and I think it's, for me too, I love doing these because, like we are deep diving and we're finding Easter eggs. Like we're going to be just as serious as the next person about it. But we have a fun little twist. We like to make it fun though too. And so I think that's what I had almost gives me a new appreciation for the book when going through the chapters and then being able to be like sarcastically talking about it, even though we're not being sarcastic. We're not being sarcastic or negative about the book or anything. It's just how would I tell this to someone if it was my story? Like how would I be, and that's kind of the hat that I put on when I was we split this up. Ellie did the first couple chapters and I did the second couple, and so that's, I don't know, it's been a lot of fun to think about the book like I am Saeris, and this is how I'm explaining it from my POV. And on that note, thank you all for being here. If you don't already follow us, please do so. We're at L.A.M.E Book Club Pod on everything, YouTube, Instagram, all the things. Like, subscribe, follow, leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you can. We greatly appreciate it. We actually do have a review of the week, Ellie. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is titled Amazing Podcast, 5 stars. It's from Ryru21, so thank you, Ryru. I usually listen on YouTube to your page or to your Patreon, but wanted to leave a review because I absolutely love this podcast. My boyfriend laughs at me now because every Monday I am so excited to put on my tin hat and listen to your new releases on Onyx Storm. You two are so funny and relatable with your inside jokes, and I just love hearing all the theories and hanging out with my book girlies because none of my friends have finished reading it yet, and I need someone to talk to / listen to. About Onyx Storm. Definitely Jeff's kiss, in my opinion. Thank you very much. Also, on that note, I feel, Ellie doesn't know I'm about to say this, but I'm doing it anyways. We have decided that we are officially going to make Jeff's kiss a sticker. So stay tuned. We will let you guys know once that is mocked up and we've actually ordered it and it's ready to available for purchase. But I'm very excited to have Jeff's kiss be one, and I think we should make a tin hat sticker now too, honestly.
Wait, yes I love it. Okay, yes
Okay,
stamp of approval.
You heard it here first. We're mocking both of those up.
Perfect. And on the note of merch, we do have just our logo, L.A.M.E Book Club Podcast, stickers and totes. So if you want to rep any of that this summer, head over to our website. It is lamebookclubpod.com, I think.
Yes, that's it. You got it.
That's the one.
That's it.
If you're part of our Patreon, you'll get 15% off. So consider joining. And if you are part of our Patreon, you should know we are coming out with bonus episodes. We go through the finale or the Carval series. We're on finale right now. It is a blast. Today we recorded, what chapters are we doing?
31 through 40.
And I literally had tears coming out of my eyes. I was laughing so hard. We quickly go through the book, but it's a lot more of like our banter, personal stories, all intertwined. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And we will have extra bonus content coming out too. So join our Patreon. And for those who we have 2 new Patreon shoutouts. Welcome to Peyton and Carrie.
Welcome.
And finally, guys, at the end of this episode, we are going to interview an author for the book Oola's Call. We're so excited to have her on. So if you're interested in what's out there, any new indie books, stay tuned. You might like it.
Yeah. And without further ado, we will be jumping in. We're going to be going through chapters 1 through 4 today. So spoiler warning for the first 4 chapters. We won't be going, just like in all of our other books, we will not be going past chapter 4 today in Quicksilver. So if you have not gotten that far, this is a safe space. Do not worry. We will not ruin anything for you. But it is first couple chapters. I think that you can do it. You can read it before if you haven't already. So go, if you haven't already read it, go read it. But spoiler warning, first 4 chapters of Quicksilver.
Yes. All right. As you know, first 4 chapters. Here's the plan. We're going to do 4 chapters at a time. You should have seen the reading plan up on Instagram. If you haven't, that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you at the end of every episode what the next one's going to be. I know it may seem slow. 4 chapters, that's not a lot. But trust me when I say this book is 600 plus pages. It's dense. There's a lot to go over, and we'll make it fun. Don't worry, guys. So
there's a lot that happens in 4 chapters.
There really is.
Don't you fear.
So, chapter 1, are we ready?
I'm so ready. Let's go.
Quicksilver! Okay. The first couple pages is the map. And then this very ominous message written in script. Never forget, monsters thrive best in the dark. Commit all you read here to memory. Prepare for war. First take, I was like, I don't know.
Okay, honestly though, no,
I didn't want to read about war. I don't know.
So serious, you guys. When I read this, I mean, I read this for the first time last year. Like, it's been a while since I've read it, and so as I did not see this the first time I read it. I don't know what. Yeah, well, because I read everything on my Kindle. I'll buy book trophies like when I really enjoy a book, but I don't know if I just was like I accidentally like double clicked or something, and the page just went really fast. I didn't see it, but. Now going through it again, I did see it this time, and I'm like, I don't know how that would have changed my thought process and the initial portion of this book if I had known that. Well,
I don't know if it would, because I read it and I thought, okay, and then I forgot all about it until it was relevant again. But
I think maybe I would have been. I think I maybe would have just been a little bit more aware of some of the and like some of what this already comes up. Elements of this comes up in the first couple chapters, so I think maybe I just would have been more aware of what was being said. Maybe not, I don't know, but that's I think I don't know. Anyways,
well,
I was shooketh when I realized that I
what did that just say?
What did you say? No, I just couldn't believe that I missed this the first time. I read the entire book without even knowing that this was there.
Welcome. You're one of us now. We're starting off strong. So we start the dry city of Zilvaren, where FMC Saeris is running from the guard. The city is described as one with huge 50-foot walls designed to keep people inside their wards, and the sewers are overflowing. I know what you're thinking. It doesn't sound too bad. What's the catch? And so here it is. There's no free water. Everything about this sounds god-awful. I was like, I simply would die. And I think that's kind of the point, is they're trying to literally, like, weed out the city. So they have to scrape and salvage and trade and steal for water. To put it frankly, life here is not biscuits and gravy. The guard asks Saeris for her name and age, and she says she's 24, which is real, but then lies about her name. She says he would flip if he knew that he had the Saeris Fane in his grasp. So right off the bat, I love this because I love the setting. I love that it's, she's scrappy and this is a very, very difficult city to live in. But I also loved the age. And I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't hate it, but it's not like my favorite thing to read when it's like, oh, the FMC is 16 years old. I loved it when I was 16, for sure. Yeah. But now that I'm well into my 20s.
Approaching 30.
Yeah, I'm like, I actually love that she was 24. It was so much more relatable for me, even though it's not. It is,
Yeah, no, totally. I agree with you. I also loved how, just again, right off the bat, she is snarky and she is strong-willed. I mean, we get that physically there might be some, we'll get into that in a second, but like, I love her response when he said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm 20. What my name is blah blah blah. I'm 24 and single." Like,
yeah,
it was just so
snarky.
It was so funny.
Yeah,
and she's like, and I didn't lie about that. Like in her inner monologue, then afterwards, I was like, "Oh, Saeris, I'm gonna like you. We're gonna get along well.
We're gonna get along just fine."
Yeah.
Then I am a fan of the fact that she's not your average, help me, I'm destitute. But she's already made a name for herself by being this insane thief. Love it.
Yeah.
So Sarah says she's from the 3rd ward, and the guard starts stammering in slight fear because the 3rd is meant for those who the city thinks are plagued. They're supposed to be quarantined, and no one has ever escaped before.
In response, quote, no one has ever escaped before.
In her head, she's like, I've been out so many times. This is the first time they've seen her.
Silly you.
In response to this fear, the guard naturally does what we all do in that type of situation, and he kicks her in the side. I was just like, that is so aggressive, which is the point. They're mean. But to be like, you're from where? Ugh.
Okay. That deserves a quick boot to the ribs.
Yeah. Then he takes off his metal gauntlet from his armor to choke Saeris out. And the gauntlet, I was like, so this is Thanos's like infinity gauntlet, right?
Not only that, I exclusively in my mind pictured the souvenir cup from Disneyland with the where, so in my mind the gauntlet was also just like not even it wasn't holding a cup, it was holding space, shall we say, for a cup. And it was just stuck like that.
That is so good. That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
So, but yeah, we're on the same page. It was absolutely Thanos' gauntlet.
In a stunning turn of events, Saeris lunges, grabs the gauntlet, and takes off. The gauntlet is 100% gold. A little flashy for my taste, but go off.
Wasn't Thanos' gold too? Yeah, are we not wrong? Like, except the only thing it hasn't mentioned is the Infinity Stones and the Knuckles.
So she notes that it's going to be worth so much if she can melt it all down at Elroy's forge. The guard cannot even keep a 15-minute jogging pace. He is so bogged down by the metal. And I want to plug that I started running again this past weekend for the first time in months because I've been kind of sick-ish. And I was like, Grant, it's going to be like a 25-minute 2-mile, which is outrageously slow. It was every bit of 26 minutes. I was like, oh.
I was waiting for you to be like, oh man, it was like riding a bike. I PR'd my first time back.
I was whizzing. I sounded like that little penguin in Toy Story. I was like, help. It was rough.
What?
You really have to channel the like, I'm training like an assassin in Throne of Glass. Like you have to just like, I'm going to be so BA. But it did not feel that way when I came around the corner and I'm like, I'm going to die.
Hey, you were out there doing it and I'm proud of you. Everyone, round of applause for Ellie.
Applause for my 26 2-mile.
I hope everyone was clapping along with me.
I'm sure from their cars. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. The gauntlet is heavy and Saeris debates dropping it to save her own life. But that amount of metal is worth everything. It's food for 3 years, her brother's education, tickets out of the city. So she starts to scale the 50-foot wall with this massive gauntlet attached to her. The souvenir cup. The guard is furious, but also desperate. He tells Saeris if she comes down and gives it back, she won't be punished. But then she's like, no.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to do that.
I don't for 1 second believe that he would be like, just fine, just give it back to me. I won't tell anyone. Like, yeah he just kicked her in the ribs for being from the 3rd Ward. I doubt that she's not going to get in trouble for what she's doing.
And she has that exact same mindset. So she's like, I'm going to keep going. She makes it to the top of the wall. I'm cheering her on. I'm already so invested. We're like 3 pages in. Yeah. And she thinks about how much she loves the rush of the chase. The life of crime. However, all of that stops when she notices the quartz from particles of the sand on the top of the wall. They start to vibrate. And the gauntlet starts to rock and whisper, she sees us, she sees us, she sees us. What the world?
What the world? I really was like, okay, you know what? We're going to let Callie explain this one in due time. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. That's all we can do. We can only persevere. Sarah says, not here, not now. So apparently this is just like life for her. I was like, oh, you're just like magic. But actually, I'm so excited to be doing this deep dive because we need to remember this scene.
Absolutely.
And take notes. I have so many questions about this, knowing what we know. This reveals a lot about the city in ways that I had not even thought about. So put a pin in this one because I want to come back to this eventually. She's over the wall and the guard yells, I'll find you, girl. I swear it. But Saeris can only think about how she's going to melt the gauntlet down to slag. And here we find ourselves in chapter 2. Saeris heads to Elroy's glass forge. He is enraged with the idea that Saeris would risk so much by bringing the gauntlet back here. So who is Elroy? Let me give you the bullet points. He is someone who used to forge weapons to fight against Madra, who is the queen of Zilvaren. After too many close calls, he decided to hang up the rebellious life and ordered Saeris and himself to forge glass, and glass alone, moving forward. He's a big boy, described as a giant of a man, a legend amongst the most dangerous criminals, but not anymore. Why, you ask? He was in love with Saeris' mother, but after she was killed, he withered away. And now he's become a sort of father figure to Saeris and her brother Hayden. His brother, Elroy's brother, had died before Saeris was born, and he starved to death during a year that Madra wouldn't give any food from the hub to the other parts of the city.
That is insane.
Yes. Side note, and I want to just diss Madra for a second. Making yourself queen of a city is not the flex I fear that she thinks it is. Queen of a country, queen of, the world, but queen of a city. I know it's a big city, but I was like, seems like a power trip.
I think we have to take a step back from reality when we think of like what a city is.
Yeah.
In this, because you're right. Like a city isn't the end all be all that the flex that you say that she thinks it is. But that's, I think, in like the United States where we live. If I just all of a sudden was like, I'm the queen of Denver, I would be like, okay.
Well, okay. It kind of put it in scale, though, because it said something around like she had 100,000 men, which if that's like, a good bulk enough to control the city, I can only assume the city's got maybe 500,000, maybe less. That's Sacramento.
I know. That's less than Sacramento, I fear.
That's less than Sacramento's like 560. So.
Oh, really? Did you Google it?
I just Googled it. So I'm like, still not the flex I fear you think it is to name yourself Queen of Phoenix, Arizona.
But Phoenix has way more people than that.
There you go.
Bordering
less than
like
Phoenix,
million.
half of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, but regardless, I don't know. I just think like this. I would argue that here cities are the equivalent of countries.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm just guessing. So the fact like that didn't affect me too much of like how she was like, I'm the queen of this city. I actually honestly didn't even think twice about it. I was like, okay, like
I didn't either till we started this deep dive. I was like, did I read right? City? I to me she's such a big bad, but city puts her more into perspective for me.
Other than Saeris, and I guess we're on chapter 2, so there's plenty of time for this to change, but other than Saeris mentioning that the gauntlet could buy them tickets out of there, we have yet to have any mention of any other places. True. And so that's part of the reason too why I'm like, okay, this is probably a bigger flex than it sounds comparatively to reality.
We did get a map, but did I skim? Who doesn't skim a map in the beginning? The map means nothing to me until the end. So I did skim, but
also this might anger a lot of people, so dare I put it on the internet? I do. I hardly ever look at the maps simply because I am mostly a kid. I think I can't remember if I just said this on this episode or not, but I am a Kindle girly through and through. And the maps are so tiny on the Kindle. It's really hard to look at. So I generally don't look at them at all.
Oh, I love a map. I love a map when I understand the layout.
I like the idea of a map.
Yeah.
I just don't really look at them because I hardly ever read a physical copy.
Maybe you need to go to your library and just like, can I print this map?
Can I just, I don't think I can print from my Kindle.
Surely we are in the age of 2025. There is a way you can export that map.
If that's the case, I could just print the book. And I think that I fear that is like a pirating
maybe
equivalent
illegal
of books.
Yeah. But if you bought it and it's just for you, I don't know. My dad, I shouldn't say this on the internet
sell
either.
The copies?
No, I won't say it. All right, we're moving on. Elroy. He is all but given up on hope of ever achieving a better life. So he's really down in the dumps, but he is a father figure and large. That's what we've gathered. Here's a heads up. Keep tabs on the description of Elroy, because there are theories here that we can't jump into yet, but lock them up in the back of your mind, all right?
All right. Big father figure.
Big father figure. In. Big boy. Back to reality. Elroy insists Saeris takes the gauntlet. That's literally what I started singing that when I wrote it.
I almost didn't, but I'm like, no, Melissa, you must.
It's coming out. Back to reality.
Exactly, you get it.
Yeah. Elroy insists Saeris takes the gauntlet back, and Saeris is like, nah, I don't really feel like it. There's a fire in her, though, and Elroy argues until he's blue in the face, but she's like, I'm not going to give up hope of a better life through this gauntlet. And he asks her specifically, what if they track you down and realize what you can do, the way you can affect metal? Oh.
What the twist?
Oh, interesting. And Saeris remembers the time that she was able to move and spin one of Elroy's daggers without touching it. I was like, you're Magneto. Cool.
This feels like something a little bigger than just being like, remember how you affect metal? That's like magic. That is full on powers. And I am sitting here like, okay, the whispering makes a little bit more sense, I think.
It's all coming together. But then
kind of,
like,
but not really.
The metal speaks to you? ? We'll get into it. So she argues that she's doing all of this for Hayden. Everything she does is for him. And then finally, Elroy concedes. Saeris leaves to find Hayden, who is sprawled out and bleeding in front of the House of Kalas, which is basically a sleazy bar. And side note, really weird to me that water is so sparse in this area, but beer is not. Like, they can buy beer. And I fear that's so bad for your health. No water, but beer.
That I actually think that's kind of the point.
Oh, too. For sure, yeah.
Because it was, I can't remember. It's for sure in one of these first couple chapters, but it's specifically mentioned that the queen is trying to kill the people in the third.
Yes.
Like, the amount of water rations that they're given daily and everything is literally not sustainable for life. Right. And the lie that everyone there is disease and they have to be quarantined and no one's allowed to go essentially just means they're cut off from all resources. No one's allowed to help them. So the fact that they're not really given water, but sure, you can have alcohol. Like, again.
Oh,
like,
my gosh, your poor livers.
Destroy the livers. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I bet everybody there is just bright yellow. Hayden.
They're all jaundice.
It's just so much liver damage. Anyways, Hayden is someone who is insanely good at cheating cards and clearly got caught for it.
So he's not that good.
I know. Saeris lightheartedly asks him if it's Carrion again, and Hayden says, you'd think he'd have better things to do than beat the out of me. Apparently. Yes.
Beat the out of me. I'm just laughing how you said it.
Thank you. That's actually how I swear now. My friend Victoria, she takes out the vowels of her cusses, and I think it's so funny, and I adore Victoria, so I started picking. Did you know that that's a thing friends do? Like, obviously we know that face value, but there's a study into it. I saw it in an article, aka an Instagram reel, and it was like, when you love and adore someone, you start picking up their habits, just even subconsciously, because your brain is like, I want to be one with them almost. Yeah. Like wear their face. And
all right. So now that you've brought this up on the spot, what have you picked up from me? Tell me. You must love me. There have to be things that you have picked up.
Surely
I expected
it's just
answer.
Laughing out loud like at first. I have no idea. Wow. Apparently, Hayden has lost a red scarf Elroy gave him and the water money to Carrion. Saeris leaves her bag with the gauntlet in it with Hayden and says, do not let this out of your sight. And everything in me is like, lady, you just signed your death warrant. This kid is literally, he got beat up for cheating. You think he's going to keep your secret? I don't know.
Honestly, for me, it was less even about like, oh yeah, you really think he's gonna keep your secret, and more of just like
he's gonna mess up, not because he's gonna do it intentionally.
Exactly. Like, you need it. This is the craziest thing that could possibly happen, of like you stealing this and having it as contraband. And you need to tell whoever is gonna have it that they are carrying that in their possession.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, Saeris. That was a dumb move. And I know that she was trying to protect him, but she would protect him more by letting him know what he's walking around with.
Yeah. Yikes. Big yikes. Anyway, Saeris heads into the tavern and heads right to Carrion Swift. We quickly find out from Saeris' thoughts that he is a notoriously good cheat, gambler, smuggler, and good in bed. She knows from experience.
She does. Also, I love his name. Can we just say Carrion Swift? Carrion.
Mm-hmm.
But and Swift, like, that's such a good.
It rolls off the tongue. It's sharp.
Yeah. What a good character name.
It's an attractive name.
It is. Something about it is. It's a handsome name.
It is. So she and Carrion exchange quick niceties, and by niceties, I mean no niceties at all. He calls her the B word, and in all my years, my 29 years of life, I fear that this may be the most disrespect I have ever seen from a man in a book. It's not, but the B word really throws me. I just really don't like when men call women. I really don't like it.
Yeah, and I think that, I it really felt pointed. Like, obviously it was intentional. I don't think Callie would have put that in there if it wasn't.
Yeah.
I agree with you, though. There is something, like, very disrespectful, if you will, about a man calling a woman
the B word. It's awful. It's awful. Don't like it.
It is. Yeah.
Anyways, so he taunts her in front of his friends with the fact that they slept together. Double damage. Don't like him at all. And then throws
I take it back. It's not a handsome name.
Disgusting name. And then throws the idea out that he beat up Hayden just to see Saeris. It's giving bully romance, and I'm not here for it. At this stage,
I didn't get that vibe at all, honestly.
Well, just wait, because at first I was like, okay, so he's a jerk. But then, no. I mean, literally in the summary, the very next part, I was like, but hold on. It was, what's that girl, Broski, when she's drinking the kombucha, and she's like, ugh. That's how it felt.
Exactly, that meme.
But then he reveals the real reason that he beat Hayden. Hayden had pulled a knife on him when Carrion refused to play another game with him. And this is just plot twist big time. Carrion is willing to let bygones be bygones if Saeris has a drink with him, and Saeris is like, perhaps not. I'll take the scarf, the money, and 5 extra... What are these called? Cheats? What's their money?
Chits. Chits.
5 extra chits for my time.
We could even just,
Hayden,
dare I say, call it silvers. Coins, if you will.
5 shillings for my time.
Yeah, there you go.
Carrion and Saeris sit alone at a booth together, and Carrion is mighty flirty. So I'm truly wondering right now if this is enemies to lovers, because with this kind of flirting, I was like, maybe slightly redeemable. I don't know.
Other than calling her a bitch, like, I don't know. I just... Nothing else. I know you said bully romance, but like in this conversation, it really more or less felt like an immature boy trying to show off in front of his friends. But to be quite like, let's be fair, Saeris was not doing him any favors either. Like, she was not. If there's gonna be a bully romance, I argue that Saeris was the bully. Like,
could be.
But like, I didn't think it was bad on either end. Like, I understand where she was coming from, and I just felt like he was being kind of like playful and flirty, and like, yeah, sure, like, not like, it was maybe a little mean-spirited, but it felt all in good fun at the same time somehow. I don't know how to explain it. That is the vibe that I got.
For sure.
So when they went off and started talking like alone together, I wasn't at all surprised that this is how the conversation was going.
I think when you start off calling a girl the B word, I was like, immediate on my chit list. But I was like, but then he started being like cute flirty, and so I'm like, maybe I judged too quickly, but I'm surprised she led with that. Anyways, we'll get into that more. So then he brings up what he really wanted to talk about, rumors of a girl stealing a gauntlet. Without saying as much, he knows it's her and wants to make sure that she wasn't stupid enough to bring it back to the third. He emphasizes that he has business here and family, specifically his grandma Gracia. By the time he mentioned his family and like, I'm actually really concerned for them, please tell me that you weren't dumb enough to bring this back and endanger them, I was like, I think I love him. He's very sensitive.
Yeah.
I think I had him wrong.
He has this whole like way he wants to present himself, but like, actually he's kind and sweet and sensitive and cares for him about his grandma. Okay, let's go, Carrion.
He's a Disney churro, if you will, just like kind of crunchy on the outside, but very soft and sweet on the inside. I'm so hungry.
That sounds so freaking
doesn't it? Oh, I would kill for a churro.
Sidebar, Ellie and I were just texting, I want to say yesterday, about specifically all the treats at Disneyland, and the fact that you brought up the churro again, I need one. So if anyone's going to Disneyland, feel free to mail me one.
Ew. I think it's gonna... Yikes.
I don't care. It's better than nothing.
Well, so he talks about his grandma Gracia, that he cares about her and does not need more trouble in the ward. He tells her that if the guard thinks she brought the gauntlet here, they will create a river of blood. I'm scared. Carrion is genuinely concerned for the well-being of the people in the ward, and he's winning me over. At this point, I was like, oh, so it's Carrion on the cover of the book. He's cute.
I didn't think that at all, though. I didn't think that at all, though, because she describes him as having red hair, and the guy on the cover of the book clearly does. Yeah.
I didn't grab that.
Yeah, it talks about how he's taller than almost everyone else. Because it talks about how Hayden and Saeris are very tall and taller than most everyone in Zilvaren. But then it talks about how Carrion is the only person who's taller than her.
That height?
Yeah, but it says he has red hair.
Oh, that's cool. Well, missed that. So I'm like, wow, he's cute. I like
We're doing a real deep dive, everyone.
So he offers to hide the gauntlet for her. And Saeris again is like, perhaps not. And Carrion is like, I don't want it for myself, you idiot. Direct quote. Big Dwight Schrute here. Big Dwight Schrute vibes. I loved this. I love when people call each other idiots. I think it's the best. Me too. So Saeris makes to leave, saying that she'll fix it, and Carrion says this chintzy little comment, even filthy and tired, you're still beautiful. Am I swooning on page 27?
Absolutely.
Yeah. She notes that Carrion's silver tongue doesn't bother her for long, and so I'm like, I get it. Quicksilver.
Nice. Yep, that's the title, and that's Carrion on the cover.
I had it all figured out.
Case
closed. Closed the book. I loved it.
10 out of 10, Callie. Highly recommend. All right, well, now let's go ahead and jump into chapter 3, where shit really hits the fan. I was going to say gets crazy, and then I'm like, wait, that's not the same. Hayden was the kind of guy who looked like he was listening when you spoke. He nodded, he repeated your words, maybe even furrowed his brow. But trust me, his brain was on vacation, sipping juice and humming elevator music. So naturally,
Hayden.
I don't feel bad for him anymore. I've learned too much.
His brain was sipping juice. Is that your idea of truly gone?
It was on vacation, having a little Mai Tai and humming elevator music. Not a care in the freaking world was Hayden having.
Not a care.
So, naturally, when Saeris, a professional trouble magnet and aspiring chaos goblin, handed him a bag and said, don't touch anything, Hayden did the only logical thing. He touched everything. Inside the bag? Oh, just the not important 100% illegal death sentence level gauntlet stolen from the Queen's private wardrobe. You know, that thing we mentioned earlier. Saeris, thinking her life already had enough excitement without adding her brother's escapades to the mix, was trying to remain calm as she speed walked across the third. And I pictured her absolutely like walking like an old lady, swaying of the hips. The arms were pumping.
Oh, I'm picturing those Olympic speed walkers with the hips to the sides. Yeah.
Yes. The citizens of the Third Ward eyed Saeris as she scurried through town, because the only reason anyone ran here was if they were being chased by something or someone. Among the bustling vendors hawking peculiar meats and mystical relics that were mostly as magical as a used broom, Saeris noticed a particularly dubious vendor named Vorath Shah. And honestly, I'm sorry, I know I'm still stopping. This name is so Harry Potter. I loved it.
Oh, to me it gives Star Trek. It's so sci-fi.
No, it sounds like something that maybe, and before I say this, and I don't want people to come at me, because I've never read Harry Potter, and I've only seen the movies a couple of times. But it sounds like something that, what was the name of the snake language? I don't know. It sounds like something.
You're asking me big questions.
It sounds like something that
Harry
something
Sparsal tongue. Yeah, something like that. I gotta look it up.
It sounds like something Harry Potter would have heard in like whispers, like Vorath Shah.
Parcel tongue.
Parcel tongue, there it is.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. It is something like that.
So,
I like it.
I don't know. That's just I had a little bit of an ADHD moment when I first read that, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so snake language in Harry Potter.
Totally.
Anyways, but he was a vendor and whose goods had the unique feature of looking magical to the hopeful, but proving very mundane in reality. But Saeris' worries were elsewhere. Her thoughts were with Hayden, who was not only tinkering with destiny by fondling a certain bag, but was also possibly about to serve as a dust bunny for Zilvaren's formidable guardians. You know, the guys in the golden armor who moonlighted as city protectors and had as much humor as a rock. She arrived at the Mirage, or as she arrived at the Mirage, Saeris realized something rather unfortunate. It was a glorious gathering of guardians, and her dear, dear brother was the star of the show. Hayden had unknowingly become the understudy in the drama that he wasn't even aware was being staged. The case of the stolen gauntlet.
Could you imagine your sister being like, we both have sisters, being
Me
like,
too.
hold this. And then you're
Exactly.
just like tackled from all angles by guards to being like, give it back.
To be fair,
I'd be so
the way
mad.
it was
Delete my number.
The way it was written was that he tried to pawn this off to Vorath, and then the guards saw what was happening, or they were called over, and so it was absolutely still Hayden's fault. But
no,
once
it is
again,
his fault. The actual nerve to be I found something.
Yeah,
pawn it.
Dare I once again bring up the fact that you should have told him. I don't know. Knowing that he still went through the bag and then decided he was going to try and pawn it off, I think he probably would have done that anyways, even if she had told him.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it back. I do think she should have said something, but I don't think that would have changed the outcome because of just what I've learned so far about Hayden.
This is what's crazy to me, though. If Saeris was so far in advance thinking about the fact that she needs to melt it down because she could not possibly sell this for at face value, like what it is, and the fact that Hayden was like, oh, I'm going to go sell this real quick. Not even 10 minutes in between.
I know. Well, I don't...
It's wild.
Hayden
That's crazy work.
With how street smart Saeris is, it sounds like Hayden hasn't had to be because he's had her. So I honestly really just was like, his frontal lobe is not fully formed.
Yeah.
And he's only 20. It really wasn't.
20's old enough. In my
It is old
opinion.
enough. It's old enough, but he still gets a hall pass because 25 is when that baby is fully formed and finally able to think critically for most people. So
crazy.
I know. But seeing Hayden cornered like a cat with his tail stuck in a door, Saeris hurtled forward to save her hopeless brother. But of course, drama loves company, and the Guardians were not going to let a little thing like familial love stop them from executing their queen's orders of "Thou shalt not steal the shiny things."
Drama loves company. I do love a little chaos every once in a while. I like to watch it mostly from the outside.
I like to... This is so messed up. I don't like it when it's happening to me or I'm involved.
Of course.
But I love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Truly, a little part of HR is my job, and so I get to know all the things. But what sucks is, like, I can't tell anybody else, so I just have to be a locked box. But I do enjoy being privy to, like, all the work drama. Oh, it's a blessing.
Love it. Well, Sarah slashed. She stabbed. She dropped one guardian like a sack of potatoes, chopped another one's hand clean off, and stared down Mr. Deathblade, who decided it was his turn to fight the stabby firecracker.
Wait, real quick. I loved this, but I hated this because, for one, they're all described as like huge, burly men. Burly.
There you go.
Huge men, ready to, like, trained to kill. And she is literally winning. But then I'm sitting here like, okay, say you kill them all. Your whole ward is going to be punished. They're not going to let you live. There is literally no getting out of this. Everyone's seen your face now. You're toast. You're absolutely toast.
Well, based on the way that like her and her monologue and stuff, she knew that she wasn't getting through all of them. She was just trying to distract them enough to get the attention away from Hayden. Yeah. She knew that she wasn't surviving this. I don't know if she thought fully, like, at this point, I also wasn't thinking the entire ward was going to suffer. I just was like, oh, she's just doing what she needs to do. She's trying to do make a bigger offense than what they're assuming Hayden had done.
I pictured if the ward were going to suffer, she would have killed every guard there and then, like, taken off to run. And then they would kill everyone, being like, where is she?
There was like over 35 or something of them. Yeah. Like, she knew she wasn't killing everyone. She was just trying to make a point.
She did a pretty good job at holding her own, though. I was so
She sure
impressed.
did. Yeah.
So I love a strong FMC.
Me too. Well, when it came to the last guard, there was 3 of them that the captain had sent over to, quote unquote, take care of her. And she had killed one, maimed the other. And so here comes the third. They danced. Blades clashed. Sweat sparkled. Ew. She bled. He bled. I gave Twilight.
Yeah.
She bled. He bled some more. Saeris outmaneuvered his smug butt and made him a statistic. But just when she thought maybe, just maybe, she'd pull off a dramatic rescue, the captain of Sassendoom stepped in, looking all smug, like, oh, you thought you were the main character. That's so adorable. In the end, though, despite impersonating a desert ninja, Saeris knew the narrative was never supposed to end with happily ever after. She turned herself over by choice, all to save her brother, bestowing upon Hayden the parting advice of go find the old man, he'll help you, in a tone that cleverly masked her panic as annoyed older sibling. And let me just say, if my older sister talked to me that Saeris talked to Hayden, knowing that it might be the last time we ever spoke, I would not for 1 second believe that she was serious. Like,
really?
Yeah, absolutely not. It would hurt 100%. But that is not how Saeris, the normal way, the vibe I was getting that Saeris normally communicated with Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's take some context clues here. I was about to get in trouble for something my sister did. My sister just killed people to get the attention off of me. And then she's turning around saying, you're so hopeless. Go away. I can't even believe that you think that I would love you, essentially. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That doesn't even track at all with what she just did. And the fact that he was, I don't know. And I know she was just doing it. Again, we know why she was doing it. But I'm thinking from Hayden's perspective, or if I were Hayden, I would pretend like, and like leave, like do what she was saying. But in my heart of hearts, I would know that she wasn't serious.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit confused because your last sentence was go find the old man, he'll help you, which doesn't speak to like how mean she was being to him.
Exactly. Well, and that's exactly what she says in the book, because she doesn't want to give out names, so she's not going to say Elroy, but that's who she's implying by old man.
Uh-huh.
And he'll help you, like, AKA he's going to take care of you since I can't right now, or potentially anymore ever.
Yeah.
But she's, like, it's coded so that no one else knows. But exactly my point. Like, she's just giving him instructions on how to take care of himself and how to survive, and then turns around immediately and is like, but just kidding. I hate you and you suck and you're so hard to have around. Like, be better.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense. Okay, everyone. Chapter 4. I'm going to tell this from like a story perspective, if you will, because the beginning of this it's like a memory, essentially. So
give me the memory.
Once upon a time, Saeris wanted to live in the palace. She imagined Queen Madra would spot her, some grimy street kid from the third, and say, that one looks like she could hold my hair back while I vomit diamonds. She's the one.
What?
I don't know. I just got the vibe that, like, it's, it's the excess of wealth that...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those who are
diamonds.
Rich do puke diamonds. I have heard that. I have been told.
I do think it's scientific, actually. She'd wear the pretty dresses, get flowers in her hair, get spritzed with the floral perfumes that the rich people bathe in. Mm-hmm. And naturally, she would be the queen's favorite. And I will go so far as to say that every single person agrees with Saeris in this sense. Like, when you have a dream where, like, I just want okay, here's a relatable one. Everyone who's a young millennial, all were in love with Justin Bieber, and we all were like, if I could just be his one less lonely girl at the concert, he would love me and we'd fall in love, and that
Melissa,
would be it. Or
Melissa, tell me why. What's the first song he ever came out with? Baby.
I think
you watched the music video, and there's this one girl, and I was like, she looks like a normal girl. Like, she's not like this crazy model. I was like, that could be me. I think they did that so intentionally that every girl in the world could be like, that could be me. I genuinely looked up like how to be in a music video with Justin Bieber. Like, where do I go to audition?
The irony of then he also came out with a song, that could be me holding you.
J Beebs, where has life taken you?
His marketing team was
they knew
they were Kris Jenner at level of
You're doing great, sweetie. Oh my gosh.
But I'm just saying, like, we all have that, like, if only they would just notice me. I know they'd love me. I know I'd be her favorite.
Yes.
And Saeris is not immune to that line of thinking. And I loved it. It was relatable.
One of us.
Oh man. Exactly. And look at her. Like, who wouldn't want a sassy poverty little girl or poverty-stricken girl as their go-to handmaiden?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like the recipe for the favorite.
It's true.
But then there was a twist. Instead, life said no, and instead served Saeris a generous helping of trauma, poverty, and political rage instead.
As life does.
As life does to everyone who thinks they're going to be the one less lonely girl. Trauma, rage, and poor. Everyone who thought they were going to be the one less lonely girl. She spent years planning how to get close to Madra. Should I join the kitchen staff? A theater group? I don't know, Spider-Man my way up the palace? She tried them all. Nothing worked. Instead, she ended up in a cell the size of a closet, bruised like a bad peach, and baking in a metal box like a sad, rebellious rotisserie chicken.
Oh, not a rotis. Oh.
Not a rotis chick.
That prison sounds like actual hell. The Honestly. Way they just burning sand alone. Burning sand, not for me. Please. I'd rather be in an icebox.
Heat in general, not for me. Also, though, freezing cold is not for me either. I am a princess when it comes to weather. And I fear that it's because I was born in California. And
it ruins us.
My parents, I blame them. It's their fault, really, for having me grow up in such a wonderful climate.
Yeah, honestly, how dare they? 67, no other temperature will I stand for.
It got warmer than that, but...
No, but that's like the only time that I truly feel joy, I think.
67 degrees.
67. Yes. I can feel a difference between 67 and 68 in my house specifically.
You're insane.
I will be like, it's wrong. Everything feels wrong.
I'm blistering in this heat.
Sweating.
Well, then Captain Haron strutted in, aka the man-shaped disappointment who tossed her into the cell like she was a sack of potatoes with an attitude. He had all the charm of a breadstick and the emotional sensitivity of a rock.
Where do you get off writing things like this?
I tried so hard. I was like, what has no personality?
You are.
You know, dare I say... When I said this, though, I was excluding specifically Olive Garden's breadsticks because they have so much personality, so much flavor, lots of pizzazz, if you will. This was like a crouton, more or less.
I think I hate Olive Garden. But,
you know, I don't think that's that much of a hot take. I see where you're coming from, but I freaking love their breadsticks.
I tagged some stuff here. Stall for a second. Okay, here, I found it. No worries. Captain Haron... I really, truly thought we were getting some Easter eggs here, and we still might.
We kind of did.
Throughout the book and also throughout the rest of the series, because Captain Haron, quote, I thought I caught a flicker of something close to disgust in his eyes. This was when she was telling him about the realities of living in the third. So to me, I was like, if he's kind of feeling some sort of sympathy, a flicker of disgust in his eyes, he's going to be a redeeming character. I truly think that. And so... I was waiting for his turn of like, I'm actually going to save you. I'm actually an ally. Like, there's a rebellious crew underground. We're going to get you out. That's really what I was hoping for. But I really didn't think he was going to actually be big bad or evil in any way.
Well, I just, to no such luck, I think, because I was optimistic that something like that might happen, because I agree, like, reading their monologue in this chapter, like, you can tell he really has no idea. It's not that he is, knows and still doesn't care. Like, Madra really, like, if you're in the hub, you have no need to even be aware of what's happening. You just believe what she says. You believe that everyone in the third is diseased and should die and like all that stuff, and you believe that you don't care, or you just assume that the rations that you're given are probably similar. Like, you don't know.
Everyone's being lied to.
He even makes a comment in here, and I'm pretty sure I have it in here. Yeah, I do. I have it in here. We'll get to it. But he says, I'm not paid to ask questions. Like, so he essentially, like, ignorance is bliss.
Follows. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got the vibe that possibly, but for me it was more of a, like, I also think that he's the captain. Like, he's clearly proven himself. I thought it was wishful thinking that this what does she call her? A gutter rat or something?
Street
like
rat.
a low-born street rat, like street
It's giving
like Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that just one conversation with her would completely change his mind and he would let her go. Like I did not see that being how
Yes, I agree. Not a conversation, but that he was already an ally somehow deep down. Like
yeah,
he was already working with rebels or something.
Okay.
They infiltrated the high up ranks, but does not prove to be.
No. Well, and he says something like, "Where did you learn to fight?" To which Saeris said something like, "Hurry up and hang me, or at least tell me a joke. I'm dying of boredom." So, they were clearly vibing.
Vibes.
Eventually, he dragged her through the palace, up every staircase ever built. I love that was included. Like,
yeah.
She's literally being dragged to her death, but we're still talking about how exhausting going up the stairs are. Because if that's not the most relatable thing, if I would not be me complaining about all the stairs that I have to climb to die, that I don't know what else is.
Yeah.
He threatened to carry her multiple times, but then grudgingly gave her some water, like a weirdly hostile Girl Scout.
Wait, why a Girl Scout?
I don't know, just kind of
Girl
like
Scouts not get water?
No. It was like I have no idea why I put that. I'm gonna be so honest.
Well, I feel it. Yeah. Girl Scouts
anyway,
go thirsty. We all know that. That's all of our reasoning.
They seem unassuming, but then they're actually vicious. But
oh yeah, you know what? When they sell those cookies, actually, sometimes in front of the local Kroger, I'm scared.
I don't ever feel the same level of guilt that I do walking past a little girl trying to sell me cookies, and I'm like, I'm just trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Please, I want them, I promise. Anyways, she downed the water like if it was holy nectar. He complained and she insulted him, so again, they're bonding. Then came the lecture. The third gets 6 ounces of runoff sludge a day, but the inner wards sip straight from the crystal fountains. Filtration, he says. No, honey, a grate. That is your filtration, and it catches solids.
When she said it catches solids,
I actually might gag again right now. It's so disgusting.
I could
not.
He
can't purify negligence. Amen.
Oh, it's so dastardly.
That's disgusting. Yeah. And
water filtered through a grate, and you get everybody else's runoffs from the entire city, and there's solids in there.
That's so nasty.
Infections. There should be nobody alive in the third at all. The infections.
We
alone.
need to move on, or I might throw up on the internet.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, here's where it comes. Where I mentioned where he says, "I'm not paid to ask questions," and she says, "That's the problem." And then gives him a revolutionary TED Talk about rebellion and metallurgy. Basically, we're poor, pissed, and about to bury your empire to the ground. Anyway, they get to this massive, super creepy locked room where she is probably about to be fed to a murdered basilisk. But, there's a platform calling to her, like it's whispering, "Touch me and die." She almost walks over to it like an idiot, but then Haron yanks her back. Then she arrives. But we need to talk about this first. Again, we hear whispering, like she feels a pull to something. She calls it a lever. But it's she's not sure what. She just feels a pull to something. And again, a nod to the whispering that she's been hearing throughout the couple of chapters.
This room really confused me, I'm not going to lie. It seemed like some kind of archival library situation with a sword, with some metal platform. Very confusing. Yeah,
it kind of confused me a little bit at first too, but honestly, I wasn't paying as much attention to the description of the room. I was more or less trying to see how quickly is she gonna... She can't die. She has to live because she's clearly the main character and we're on chapter 4. But I'm like, how is she getting out of this? It doesn't... Because I still wasn't fully on team... good guy captain.
Oh, to me there was no other way unless she woke up her
there was
metal
no other
powers.
Way. Yeah. So I was more or less focused on what was about to happen, which is the queen, and she arrives. He drags her up to meet Queen Madra, who is equal parts Barbie, Beyonce, and Satan with great skincare. She's gorgeous, terrifying, and what?
I pictured her not gorgeous. I read it. I know what it said, but you know us. Yzma. Just Yzma. In the purple.
I really think it's because she says that there's a lever. I think that you couldn't get past that subconsciously.
Oh, the lever.
Oh, the lever, Kronk. Well, I absolutely pictured her I pictured her like Galenda. Like, not pink, but like ethereal kind of like.
Does it say she wears purple? Because purple is really definitive to me.
Actually, no. It specifically says, I want to say she's wearing blue. It talks more about the material than anything. It's like a silk. Sarah says that she's never seen that material before. It's like the most wealthy looking silk that she's ever seen, essentially.
That's why I thought purple, because purple is like royal. So maybe I was just like, has to be purple. I don't know. Maybe just Yzma.
Yeah. Well, she's also off her rocker because she's going on about Fae, betrayal, and how rats like Saeris are apparently the OG public enemy.
Okay. I also didn't know this book had Fae, so when she said that, I was like, what?
Yes! Well, here's the thing. I was waiting for it, and I was actually surprised that we hadn't gotten any more, even just mention of it. I mean, I know we're only in chapter 4, but this is, 70-something pages into the book. Like, it's we talked about why we're only doing 4 chapters. They're beefy chapters. And so I'm like, man, we're almost a sixth of the way into the book and not one mention of magic or Fae or anything. I mean, yeah, okay, we've got notes of her having something with metal, but like, and then because the title of this is the Fae, it's the Fae and Alchemy series. So I'm like, there has to be Fae at some point.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. And
it's
yet
on the
I didn't
cover.
know that. No, not mine. It just says Quicksilver, and there's a nice picture of Carrion Swift here. But I don't have Fae and Alchemy series on here. But it's probably inside. I just skimmed.
Yeah. Maybe it's not on the cover, but I mean, I knew that it was a part of if you look on Goodreads, like in parentheses, it says the Fae and Alchemy series. And so I knew that they were going to be involved at some point. So I was excited when we finally started getting mentions of them. Madra wants answers, specifically who taught this, quote, third ward trash to sword fight like a ninja. Sarah says that she trained herself, but the queen calls her BS and slaps her hard enough to make her question her dental insurance. I was shocked at this point, like with how just intense the queen was right off the bat. I kind of thought she'd play this a lot cooler, kind of being like, I'm the beautiful queen. Like, don't worry, you can tell me anything. And I know that she has a reputation, but I kind of thought she'd try and err on the other side of
a real
a
real ice queen with Edmund type of thing, like giving him the little what are those things
Turkish
called?
delights.
Turkish delights.
Which have you ever had
Turkish
one?
Delights. Yes, disgusting.
I don't like them personally.
I fear they're filthy.
They're not filthy.
Yeah, I thought she'd be like, oh, sweet baby Saeris, tell me your secrets.
Exactly.
But no.
She did not go that angle, and okay. It was interesting to read about.
Yeah.
Madra then spirals into a conspiracy monologue about the Fae returning to take her throne, how she alone keeps the chaos at bay, and how genocide is actually pest control if you squint hard enough.
That's
was
crazy.
The gist of what she said.
That gives Frollo killing the ants in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. There's a lot of Disney references today. Sorry.
I'm not going to lie. I did not know where you were going with that. And when you said Frollo, I'm like, you did not just say Frodo wrong, did you?
No. I do get them confused sometimes, but no, it is Judge Code Frollo. When he's like talking about the gypsies and then just squishes the ants.
I know that I've seen the movie. I just have not seen it enough to remember his name.
Yep. That's him.
Well, finally, in a grand display of I'm insane and I have a kingdom, Madra gives the order to off Saeris and her people.
That's crazy.
You were right. Because, hey, nothing says royal diplomacy like mass murder.
Mass murder in your city. That's crazy.
Literally. Now, Saeris stands in the middle of a creepy ancient hall full of forgotten gods, knowing that her childhood dreams have officially gone from Cinderella to Game of Thrones. So, to recap, her childhood dream was be the queen's favorite. Her current reality is probably about to be executed by a bejeweled tyrant and in a haunted mirror hall. And the takeaway is don't dream. Dreams get you arrested, dehydrated, and personally threatened by a lunatic in sapphires. Long live the queen.
Yikes. Yeah, really 0 to 100. I was shocked that she was like, and just so that everybody knows to not do this ever again.
It was
Death. Death for all.
threat level. What is it? What is Michael
Midnight.
Scott's threat level midnight? I was gonna say 1,000. I knew that was wrong, but literally threat level midnight. It went from being like, oh, fine, you're not giving me any answers, to, okay, well, in that case, you're dead. I'm gonna kill everyone you love, and just for funsies, the entire third, so that no one ever does this again. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's actually insane. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
no wonder everyone's terrified of her. Like,
But I'll say this. Great start to a villain
Oh,
that we
yeah,
all
absolutely.
can unanimously hate. No one can draw up any like, well, maybe. No, just
No,
absolutely
yeah.
evil. And I love that about a villain when there's no
there's no wiggle room.
maybe. Yeah, there's no wiggle
Yeah.
room.
But yeah, I don't know. And I just think if there's anyone that is thinking like, I don't know, maybe I can see where they're coming from, that is not someone you want to have in your life. That is a red flag, and that is concerning, quite
Yeah.
literally.
Very fair. Well,
Yeah.
friends, that concludes our first episode of Quicksilver. Next week, we are doing 5 through 8. So come ready. It's another 70 pages. It's a little bit of homework, but is it though?
Oh, it's good. It's so
a
good.
joy to read. We love it.
And like we mentioned at the top of our episode, we do have an author interview with an indie author, Mahika Goyle, talking about her book, Oola's Call. So stay tuned for that interview right now.
All right, everyone. Just like we talked about, we do have our indie interview today. We are here with Mahika Goyle. Hi, Mahika. Welcome.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. You wrote Oola's Call. Tell us about this book.
So this book, it basically came from my love for animals. I have spent the last couple of years just, going around the world and scuba diving and, researching
Wow.
and surveying a lot of wildlife because, I'm in the field of conservation.
Mhm.
And I realized that the one way I can, communicate what's happening out there in the world is through storytelling. So I spent a couple of months in Africa and I observed humpback whales. They're like my most favorite animals in the world. I observed them in the wild, and I thought that, oh my God, that I can totally craft a book, based
Yeah.
on their lives, based on their history, based on their current threats. Make it, a little entertaining and make it easy to read so that, I can bridge the gap between the scientific community and the people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
love that.
story, yeah, the story is completely from the whale's perspective. So, it was like diving deep into the mindset of the whales and how they feel and how they live and trying to understand them better. So, yeah, it was pretty
That's
good.
really neat. Can you give us like a preview of the plot?
It's basically about this young humpback whale. She's gone through a lot of trauma in her life as a young whale because, if you read up on the history of whaling up until like 1985, it was a brutal industry where a lot of
Mhm.
whales, they almost went extinct and they stopped that. And so this book kind of gives like a little preview on that. And it goes on to it just talks about how a lot of uh, human activities, how it affects the ocean and how it affects the lives of so many animals. And this whale, she has a little gift where she can talk to other species. So she makes
Mm.
friends with like birds and penguins and dolphins and turtles and everything. And she explores Antarctica and Africa with them. And you get like a different view of the world from her eyes, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gets stuck in a fishing net, which is one of the leading threats to whales in today's world, getting entangled in fishing lines.
Mhm.
And two humans come and save her, and she becomes friends with them. And this book basically explores their friendship, and it's like it has a really special place in my heart because I've always wanted to make friends with a talking whale. And something like that is not possible in real life. So I had to make it up. And yeah, I mean, I got to live out my fantasies in my book,
Oh.
like going and exploring underwater with a whale. I mean, do you need a better tour guide? Honestly.
Yeah.
No, I
So,
suppose not.
yeah.
So
So,
you mentioned that she can talk to other species. That includes people then, so she could
yes,
communicate with.
yes.
Amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then, because she's faced a lot of hardships in the hands of humans,
Mhm.
she doesn't really want her human counterpart, like Zoya, her name is, she doesn't want Zoya to tell anybody. So
Okay.
Zoya kind of promises that, okay, it's just going to be her and her partner who kind of know that, there's a talking whale in the ocean. Because obviously, if
Yeah.
people get to know there's a talking whale in the ocean, they're gonna wanna like, do studies on it. We're gonna wanna figure out what, how, why, when.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Neat.
Yeah. So she becomes friends with her, and then disaster happens, tragedy strikes. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to tell you
Yes.
what
No, don't spoil
disaster
anything.
is. Yeah. And she obviously blames the humans, and it's like an entire journey for her to get over that tragedy and probably place her trust in the humans again so that, they could
Yeah.
fight for justice together. Because obviously the whales don't understand the human concept of justice. They don't understand currency. They don't understand trade. So I tried basically just to show everything from the whale's perspective, things that affect them directly, basically. So
Neat.
yeah, so Zoya is trying to fight for Oola because, Zoya obviously loves whales. She's friends with a whale. So
Yeah.
she wants to get justice for their species, and Oola has to find it in herself to like try to trust her again. Oola and all of her, friends and family, they have to find it in themselves to trust her again.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that concept. I think that's going to be a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa, you want to hit us off with your first question?
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that this story came out of your being a conservationist and wanting to share that and bridge the scientific community with the people. How did you, like, what was your favorite part then of being a writer? Like, with that, knowing that that was your goal and everything. What was your favorite part of writing this book?
I honestly loved the research part of it.
Yeah.
I loved learning about, what the habits of the whales are, their migration patterns, their breeding patterns, the way they care for their young, the love they feel, their altruism, all of that. I loved learning about all of that. And then it took me a while to brainstorm and find the exact plot for the book. And I really, really enjoyed that process. Just like a cup of tea and sit in like nature and just
Yeah.
brainstorm and let nature inspire you, basically. So yeah,
That's cool.
I really, really enjoyed developing the character of the whale and trying to go deep into their emotions because they are deeply compassionate beings.
Yeah.
And, trying to like make the reader understand how they feel and just instill that compassion in them. I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun to, bring that out for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
It's a really neat aspect of writing because I feel often like if I were sometimes I never will do it, but if I ever thought about would I ever write a book, it's more about like where would I want the story to go and not my first thoughts aren't necessarily like how can I pull emotion out of a reader,
Yeah.
which is something
Yeah.
you'd absolutely have to do with a book like this. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your favorite books to read? What kind of inspired this out of the things that you love in literature?
Honestly, I'm a huge fantasy girl. I love fantasy, which is how I actually found your podcast and
Yeah.
following. Yeah, I love fantasy. But then, the occasional palate cleanser, I like reading the occasional thriller and a nice romance book, but mostly fantasy. And, authors like Rebecca Ross, I love Ross's poetic writing. Her
me
writing
too.
style is
Me
amazing
too.
and she's been like it's really inspiring. And of course, the way J.R.R. Tolkien, the way he explains
Yeah.
scenery, it's super important because, my book is like completely nature based and I need that sort of inspiration from, and the way he explains in his book, it's amazing. I love his writing style.
Yes.
And of course, J.K. Rowling, like, she fueled my love for reading. She fueled my love for writing. And the way she makes, really hard concepts fun for children to read,
Yeah.
that, if you read the first Harry Potter book, there's a lot coming after that. But that particular book is so much fun, even for a child, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I really learned a lot from them, for sure.
Cool.
That's amazing. I love that.
That's really cool that like such different genres or like storytelling can influence a book that is about a whale. I really love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever heard or read the book Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus?
I've heard of it. It's there on my TBR. Yeah.
I just read it. It's very interesting. It's about a person
I
who gets
haven't-
swallowed by
I
a
haven't
whale.
read it.
Well, let me know if you read
Probably-
it. I would know your thoughts.
Probably not. I mean, I don't want to speak to a book that I've never even heard of, but I would imagine probably not as scientifically accurate as Oola's call.
No, it's actually
Oh, it
it's
is?
actually yeah, he talked to a lot of like marine
Oh, cool.
biologists and like
Good for
really
David.
studied the anatomy of a whale to do it
Nice,
was
nice.
really interesting. Yeah.
Definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know we've touched on this a little bit, but to dig deeper, where did you get the idea for the main character in the book? Specifically knowing that, like, I know your love for whales and like we want to talk about conservation, but like why whales specifically and where did you get the inspiration for the main character?
So, whales are actually the reason I got into conservation in the first place because
Mhm.
I don't know, I just watched a couple of videos a few years ago and I was just like, wow, my mind was blown basically.
Yeah.
And it took me a few years, but then I eventually got in touch with this organization in Mozambique where I spent a
Mm-hmm.
couple of months and I interned under them for 6 months to be exact.
Wow.
And that was exactly during whale season. Whales they migrate to the equator during certain parts of the year, and I timed my thing so I could be there at that time.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because I had been corresponding with my mentor over there. I'd been corresponding with her for months before I went, and I told her, listen, the reason I'm coming is for the whales. And she was like, you're going to see them on the surface. They're going to be breaching. You will see them on the
Yeah.
surface, which is amazing for sure. But it's very, very rare to see them while scuba diving. And on my first dive there, we saw this massive whale just dance for us for 10 minutes, which I actually
Oh.
recreated that scene in my book. And we came out crying. All of us came out crying because it was
I would
amazing.
too.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. And I think in my mind at that time when I saw that whale, I don't know if it was a male or a female, but I named that whale
Hmm.
Oola because I knew that Oola meant gem of the sea. And
Aw.
I truly believe that whales are the gems of the sea. So I named that whale Oola. And then, I think later that week, I spoke to my mentor about what I could do further for whales. And together we were just like, okay, fine, I could write a book and,
Yeah.
collaborate with like a whole bunch of marine biologists and just craft a book,
Yeah.
because research is like a whole different field. And I believe there are like so many scientists who are actually doing amazing work, but there are not many people who are actually bridging the gap, sharing the
Yeah.
knowledge that they're gaining with the people who don't know anything about it, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that whale inspired me to write this
This
for them.
isn't part of our questions. I'm going to throw this on you. Feel free to
Yeah.
not answer. What is your coolest whale fact? I'm dying to know. What's something like most people don't know about whales that you're like, I got to tell you?
Oh my God. I mean, this doesn't include scientists who don't know this
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
but I just love how you can identify a whale. They
Mhm.
have their tails, it's like the patterns on their tails are really different. They're individual. It's very similar to like a fingerprint for a human.
Oh, wow.
So
Mhm.
you take a picture of the tail, you post it on this particular software, and they will track that whale for you. So if anybody else takes a picture of the same tail, they'll know that okay, the whale traveled from here to here, from Mozambique to South
That's
Africa.
cool.
And I think that's really, really cool because you can get a lot of information just based on their migratory movements. So yeah, I love that fact.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
so many more, especially with humpback
That's
whales,
super
how
cool.
they're so altruistic. They're deeply compassionate. They face so much trauma in the hands of like so many animals that if they see another smaller animal in danger, they will go and save that animal. 90% of the time, they will go and save that
Oh,
animal. So I just love that
Wow.
that's
about
so
them.
cool.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
fascinating.
You'll see
I
Yeah.
videos.
I
You'll see videos of it. They rescue
Yeah.
human beings from sharks and everything. It's amazing. I just love that.
Wow.
wow. I do like a protector in the ocean from me and sharks. That
Me
is lovely
too.
to know.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
I have a quick question that now I have based on the story you mentioned of the dancing whale. This might sound naive, but please know that I am, and that's why I'm asking
That's
it.
fine.
But you said that your mentor mentioned like, oh, you're definitely going to see them breaching, but like hardly ever do we see them scuba diving. Do you not just scuba dive when they're breaching? Like I'm curious why it's not as common to see them diving versus just on the
Yeah.
surface.
Honestly, the biggest reason is that they're really skittish. They're very shy,
Okay.
and Yeah, I mean, you can see them if they're curious about you, but they will know that you're in the
Yeah.
sea and they will move away from you because,
Okay.
there's so many times that we've seen them so close to our boat when we've reached the dive site. But by the
Mhm.
time we, gear up, because the scuba gear is a lot, it's
Yeah,
very
that's
hefty
true.
and it takes a little bit. So by the time we gear up and get into the sea, and we used to be really quick, because we know that, oh my God, there are whales, we want to go. But we'll never end up
Yeah.
seeing them because they are super
Okay.
fast. So they'll just say,
Yeah.
they'll zip away.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. In my mind, I'm just like, if they're breaching, let's just jump on in.
Right? Right? I mean,
But
yeah,
you're
of
right.
course.
There's a lot more
In theory,
logistics that go into it.
it's like, yeah, that's what we always did in theory. Oh my God, they're right here. Let's just jump. Let's just jump. And then we'll go down expecting to see them, and they're just nowhere there. We can't see
That's
anything.
crazy.
Yeah.
I
That
didn't
makes
expect them to be
sense,
that
though.
fast.
Yeah.
I've
Sorry, say
always
that again.
when we go to Hawaii, I think it's
Mhm.
humpback whales that migrate over there towards
I
Maui and
think
then they go
so.
up to
Yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah. I think, yeah.
so we go during whale season because we love to see them breaching and we love to see the little whales. But we kayak sometimes, and I am beyond terrified that they're going to breach and fall on top of me. Every single time I go, beyond
I
terrified.
know.
Can you
Yeah, I
comfort
know.
me in that?
That
Do you know
that
if
is
they
a
do that
valid
often?
That is a valid fear. It is. But the best thing I can say is that they know you're there
Yeah.
and they're
Okay.
honestly not going to do anything. And because they know you're there, they're probably going to move away from you. They'll probably come up to breathe near you, but they'll move away from you if they want to breach and all of that. So unless you're like super fast, faster than they can comprehend, which I don't think a kayak can be. Uh,
I don't know. You've never seen me on a kayak. I might be so lightning fast.
You heard it here first, Ellie. They won't breach because they know you're there.
yeah, they know they like 90% of the time they're going to know you're there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fair. Outside of Oola, what was your favorite character to develop?
I did like developing Zoya, the human,
Mm-hmm.
because um, I did put a little bit of me in her because of my passion for protecting the
Yeah.
ocean. But obviously, I did make little differences between her and me. She's definitely more badass than I am. And she definitely takes more risks than I do. But I really, really enjoyed developing her. She was really fun. She definitely really wanted to do good and she wanted to protect the whales at all costs, even at the
Mm-hmm.
cost of her own life. And
Wow.
that's something I definitely respected about her.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me
Yeah.
too. Can you describe your writing process and do you have a specific routine you do in writing? I know you mentioned you do a lot of research. Is that involved in the writing
Yes.
process at all?
It takes me a couple of months to just do the research,
Okay.
because there's always new information coming out,
Yeah.
and so I do that first, but then when I've got all the research, I note it all down in a Word document, and when all the research is done, or at least I'm satisfied that I've got enough to start my story, I make sure that I sit somewhere where there's a lot of nature, whether it's with trees or by the beach.
Mhm.
I also have this Lord of the Rings soundtrack that
Yes.
I love it.
right? It's beautiful. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just play that on repeat and it just inspires me. It gives me peace and inspires me. So, and obviously like a cup of tea beside me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just write for hours and
I
I won't
love
even
it.
realize that time is flying from me. And I realize, okay, it's food time now. I need to eat. And while eating, I write. And I just love that entire process. And then
That's
I'll
Yeah.
change the
amazing.
draft a couple of times in my head. I'll change the entire plot a couple of times in my head. And then when I'm remotely happy, I'll go through it a couple of times and,
Yeah.
just edit things here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We not for the same purpose, but my husband is a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and so we frequently have that same soundtrack on, but just for peace, just because it's relaxing and calming and
Yeah.
why not kind of. So we're not
Yeah.
writing a book, but I totally understand how that would help in a writing process because it is the most peaceful thing I've ever heard in my life. So I get it.
Indeed. That's like a comfort soundtrack for me.
It is. Yeah,
is.
it's turned into one for me just because of how
Yeah.
much he has it on.
I love that.
Are you writing anything else that has to do with conservation?
Yes, I'm actually working on my next book.
Mhm.
It's about elephants this time. And
love it.
Oh.
yeah, I'm going to focus on the Asian elephants in India.
Mhm.
Okay.
Fortunately, it's like not as far as Mozambique, and it's literally in the same state as I live in. So
Yes.
like commute and transport will be a lot easier, and I get to observe elephants in the wild. Clearly, I have a thing for gentle giants. Really deeply emotional gentle giants. Yeah, so that's my next one.
I love it.
That's
Is it going to be
awesome.
a continuation, like a series, or are these all going to be standalone?
Will we get a sneak peek of
It's
Oola in it?
I really want to like introduce Zoya in it, but I have to see how it fits. I really
Yeah.
want to introduce her, but it is definitely like I'm doing an entire Gentle Giant series. Obviously,
Okay.
Ula's Doll is the first one, and this one, I mean, I don't know yet if it's going to be interconnected. It's something I
Yeah.
Okay.
have to figure out as I write. So right
Okay.
now I'm in the research phase of it. That's going to take a few months, and then I'll
Yeah.
probably begin writing later this year. And I really, really want to connect it in some way or the other. Because if you read this book, if you read Ula's Call, you'll know that there is an opening where I can. So I'm
Yeah.
keeping the
Mhm.
option, and I'll just take it as it comes. I don't want to.
I love that. I love
I love
subtle
it.
nods when authors throw in just a little bit of their previous
Yeah.
work or future work.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
it.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it. So do you have any advice for readers that are new to maybe even conservation in general, or just this genre of writing and this type of story?
Honestly, the best thing I can say is just go in with an open mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, because conservation is a very heavy subject, and I
Yeah.
try to make it as easy and fun as possible.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it is an important conversation to have, and I think people need to know about it. But I do believe that once you read it, you will learn a lot, and maybe
Yeah.
that can open your mind a little more. But just go in with an open mind, honestly.
Nice.
I love that.
All right.
It's a little different, right? It's like from a perspective of an animal. You don't have many books like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. I think that's going to be such an interesting perspective, such an interesting read. I love
Yeah.
the whole idea behind Oola and being able to talk to the other animals and humans.
Yeah.
I think that's such a fun
That
concept.
was actually my favorite part to develop, making friends with the bird and the penguin and the dolphin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dolphins, I think the dolphins, after Oola and Zoya, the dolphins are my favorite character because they're just so
Yeah.
cute. Yeah, and
I
the
love that.
turtles. Yeah.
I do love
Amazing.
a dolphin. Well,
Yeah.
where can readers find your work? Where can we find your book?
On Amazon. It's there
On
on
Amazon? All right.
Amazing.
And it's also
Friends.
there on Kindle.
Kindle?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I'm
Cool.
a big e-reader, so
Me too. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Me too. I prefer ebooks to physical books. I
Yeah.
love the collection of physical books, but I definitely
Same.
love ebooks. Yeah.
It's really at the end of the day, I'm just kind of lazy. It's a lot easier for me to hold the Kindle than it is a book.
Definitely,
And
definitely. And also you can read in the night. You can read in the
Exactly.
There
dark.
you go. Yeah.
exactly.
I just keep my lamp on and my husband gets so annoyed by it.
I
But
can imagine. Yeah, I can
whatever.
imagine.
It started when I had kids, and it was a lot easier to hold a baby and a Kindle at the same time than
Yeah.
it was to
Then
hold a
hold the
book
book
and a
open.
Kindle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or a
need to
book
have
a book and a
book,
Kindle.
right? You need to have
Yeah.
like a physical book. Yeah.
Exactly. And then even when they got older, I'm like, I'm so used. This is so light, and I don't have to like.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
I can hold it with one hand.
Yeah, and you can even see how much time you have left in the book and how
Exactly.
far in you are. Yeah, I love the Kindle. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my
Awesome.
prized possessions, definitely. I don't travel
Me
anywhere
too.
with it.
Same.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. We will definitely be linking your book so all of our
Yes.
audience can find it. Do you have any last words?
I just hope that you guys, all your readers, enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that it sparks your love for the wild, honestly, because
Yeah.
animals are just, especially whales, are just so adorable. They're so cute. And I think if you read this book, you're gonna see exactly what I mean.
Love
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for talking about
Thank
Oola's Call,
you.
for joining us today. We're very
And thank
excited.
you for having me. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. Really, I really appreciate it. I just love your podcast, honestly. I listen to everything related to Akatar on your podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's
We
one
too
thing
love
that
Akatar.
has been messing with my head.
Yeah.
That Bryce and like the blood going in Prithian, when she
Yes. In
Yes.
The, yes. In
that
the
theory has
water.
been messing with my head for a long time.
Me too.
Isn't it? Oh, aren't we all in the same boat with that one? Quite honestly, I need answers.
I need them yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean.
Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
thank you again for joining us. Thank you to all of our listeners who are still here. We hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.